Live pictures, special KTLA coverage from KTLA 5 News and the Republican National Convention.
A monumental few days in American history. Just 2 days after the attempt on the life of former President Trump, we know he is in Milwaukee. We see that he is standing backstage and expected to take the stage and make an appearance.
Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. This is a special coverage of the KTLA 5 News.
And here to discuss what has been a historic week, Matt Klink, Republican strategist and founder of Klink Campaigns.
Okay, you're going to be with us throughout the week, and we're glad to have you. Nice to have you again.
Nice to be back.
As we await that live picture, once again, we're moments away from seeing the former president at his first appearance on day one, night one of the RNC in Milwaukee. What has been a wild few days as we watch for any surprise appearances tonight. Let's start with that VP pick. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will be joining former President Trump on the ticket, at the top of the ticket. And again, there are pictures just moments ago of the former president. And as we wait an appearance, an official appearance, if you will, Matt, your impressions of J.D. Vance, obviously a choice that has been applauded across Republican circles.
Oh, absolutely. He is a huge Trump loyalist. He's a 39-year-old Republican senator from Ohio, kind of a newbie in the Senate. He's been there 2 years. His upbringing is what is going to, I think, really excite people.
Yeah, and when you talk about his upbringing, he's from Appalachia, and it's just there outside of Pennsylvania. I know that Pennsylvania, obviously a battleground state, and this is something that Trump really needs, and he could probably make that connection to that western part of Pennsylvania and get some votes there.
He's going to play big throughout the Rust Belt. I mean, a single-parent family enlists in the United States Marine Corps, goes to The Ohio State University and Yale Law School. He has a blue-chip resume, but this is a man who pulled himself up by his bootstraps. His mom was a drug addict. He writes about the plight of middle America. I think he's going to make the Democrats like to argue that race is the big factor. Republicans like to argue that class is the big factor. J.D. Vance is the entree into that.
He articulates it so well in the best-selling book for which he wrote, Hillbilly Elegy. Here's a full screen shot now of and a first close-up look at the former president following the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania over the weekend. Let's listen.
Yeah.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA. We are here tonight with one purpose, and that is to elect Donald J. Trump as the next president of the United States. He is here tonight to show his courage, his defiance against somebody who tried to kill him. You will not take this man down. He has the courage, the strength, and he will be the next president of the United States. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea. Ladies Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th President of the United States and soon to be the 47th President of the United States, please welcome Donald J. Trump. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Mr. President.
Please welcome Mark Laws from Cedar Springs, Michigan.
And there you have it, former President Donald Trump making his first appearance at the Republican National Convention alongside with his newly announced VP nominee, J.D. Vance. First time that America is seeing them together here now on the first night of the RNC.
And Matt, you just look at the two of them standing together, and it is striking, the difference in age. Some 40 years his junior, J.D. Vance, and an oppression that is searing, not least because of what happened over the weekend, a seminal moment, not only in this campaign, but in American history. How does what happened over the weekend change the complexity and the tenor of the race going forward?
Well, completely unexpected. I mean, we haven't seen this since 1968, when the Democrats went through Robert Kennedy's assassination and all the turmoil associated with that. I mean, yes, Ronald Reagan, but he was already president.
Sure.
But I think now it calls into question. J.D. Vance is 39 years old. He's young, he's vibrant, he is the future of conservative populism in America. He's the next step for the MAGA movement. And I think that's a very stark contrast with the Democrats, with an 81-year-old president and an almost 60-year-old vice president.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that characterization manifest throughout the convention and throughout the upcoming campaign.
And what do you think it is about J.D. Vance that made Trump decide he's the one that should take the baton from me, in effect, and continue to carry on the MAGA movement, especially when there is a video and tweets from him, you know, before that was very much against Trump, and now it's a complete 180. So why choose him to be the one to carry the torch through?
Well, you typically choose vice presidents for two reasons. One, because you want someone to be loyal, or two, because you want someone to give you something that you don't already have.
Right.
I think the primary reason for J.D. Vance, he will be loyal. When he is in the United States Senate, he has been one of the loudest voices for pro-Donald Trump and the things that Donald Trump espouses. Now, he also happens to have a fairly accomplished record for someone who has a very short Senate career, but primarily he will support Donald J. Trump, and that's what he wants. the president
wins. Yeah. All right, Matt, we'll talk with you shortly as our special coverage continues. With Saturday's assassination attempt looming over the convention, delegates formally nominated former President Trump to be the Republican nominee. Welcome back to our special coverage. A live look now inside the hall of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee.
Yes, and just moments ago, as you see there, Donald Trump, the former president, entered the hall, Matt, and now sitting with his brand new VP pick, Senator J.D. Vance. There, you could see, we haven't addressed it just yet, a bandage on his ear from that incident on the assassination attempt on Saturday. I mean, that just changes the trajectory, I think, of all of these things, and even possibly his speech on Thursday.
Well, in fact, Cher, he said that he has rewritten his speech to talk about being more of a uniter, and I think it does present him an opportunity. I mean, that epic photo now of him raising his arms with the American flag in the background, that will, I mean, they're going to use a photo like that to contrast the Trump campaign with the Biden campaign about energy, excitement, fighting for America. I mean, these are the images that Donald Trump's going to talk about, and now extending an olive branch to bring more Americans into that enthusiasm.
And you mentioned the Biden campaign following the events of the weekend, all the talk about potentially replacing Biden gone in an instant.
I think for the time being, until we see, I mean, we always, every convention we talk about the bump that the party holding the convention gets.
Right.
It depends on the size of the bump, and then we'll see if those talks rekindle themselves. But Joe Biden did well in his NATO speech, and he's not excelling, but he's doing good enough to get by, and I think that's okay for right now.
Yeah, he had an interview with NBC's Lester Holt today as well. We'll get into that a little bit later as we get back to you for more analysis.
All right, we'll see you shortly, Matt. Welcome back to our special coverage. A live look now inside the hall of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee.
Matt Klink, Republican strategist, here now with some final thoughts, and especially since today was such a big day for the campaign to announce a VP, with that being J.D. Vance. What does this also mean for Trump to show up today?
I think it highlights the importance that Trump sees that Saturday was an event that was a game changer for this election cycle. It may not be the last one the way this election cycle is going, but it changed the arc of the campaign. Donald Trump needs to keep that momentum going, and generally speaking, if you have a flat first night, it's really hard to gain momentum in nights 2, 3, and 4. So Republicans need to come out strong. They need to keep that enthusiasm, and the ticket appearing together hopefully will provide that boost to swing them into days 2, 3, and 4.
Absent an October surprise, do you see the trajectory changing?
Micah, with this election cycle, so much. I mean, look at 2 weeks ago when the debate happened, and I would think it would be very challenging. But gosh, anybody who says that they know, this is. The only thing you know about 2024 is that we don't know. And as I said, if the election were held today, I think Donald Trump would win. Who knows what's going to happen next week? It's that crazy, and it's still really, really close.
Another anticipated interview with NBC's Lester Holt and President Biden. Did that do anything for the Democrats?
I've only seen little snippets of it. The challenge that Joe Biden faces now is that every single word that he said is parsed and analyzed. And did he stutter when he should have? He shouldn't have.
Yeah.
How can you get beyond that to talk about issues when people are worried about whether you're able to have a conversation?
Right.
And I think that Joe Biden either has to do something to break out, but he can't just plod along. It's like you're skidding along bottom. He needs to do something to jump his campaign up.
Back to the Trump instinct and the decision to wait until the opening day of the convention to announce his running mate. We haven't seen that on the Republican side since George H.W. Bush. Why wait?
It builds the momentum. Trump loves the suspense. It keeps the focus on Donald Trump. I mean, even though the last 2 weeks have really been about Joe Biden, Donald Trump is always more comfortable when he is in the spotlight. So this is what he intended to do. And Saturday, I think, made it even more important that he show up and appear beside him and show that I'm here, I'm strong, and look at this vibrant, young, next generation leader that I have by my side. That's their image that they want.
Your thoughts on Senator Vance? Does he actually get the votes that Trump needs, like with suburban women, for example?
In fact, no. I think some of his positions, particularly on abortion, are very, very challenging. But I think that Donald Trump realizes that if he can squeeze votes out of the Rust Belt in certain counties in Pennsylvania, certain counties in Michigan, that I think that, I mean, that this election is so close. We're talking less than 100,000 votes. It's going to determine who wins.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance gives him that.
Populist conservative.
Yes.
And you talk about risk out and reward outweighing risk, I believe is what you're...
100%, Micah, yes.
Yeah. All right. Matt Klink, thank you. That does it for our special edition of the KTLA 5 News at 7 o'clock.
Join us again for the news at 10 and 11. Good night.